Welcome to Inside Your County Government, a podcast that brings you an inside look at the people and events in and around county government that shape our Charles County. I'm your host, Brent Huber. In this episode, we're getting into our new normal and taking a look inside the 2020 census, why it's important, and how Charles County is responding. All right, welcome back. So joining me today is Julius Maina, Partnership Coordinator for the state, Lee Osberry, who's a Partnership Specialist for Southern Maryland, and Amy Blessinger, a Planner 3 with Charles County's Planning Division. So Julius, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and how that interacts with the census?
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be on the podcast. So I'm Julius Maina. I am the Partnership Coordinator for the U.S. Census Bureau. And all that means is that I coordinate the partnerships with the boots on the ground to ensure that when we tell people that the census is easy, safe, and important, that we deliver that message with our partners. We found out in 2010 that when we do this decennial census, which is done every 10 years, and it's actually done to determine about $675 billion in federal funds that will be allocated annually for roads and projects and schools, we realized that we actually have to work with our partners to make sure that they're not just hearing from a government worker, government voice, but they're hearing from the true trusted voices in the community. So in my role, we determine who the trusted voices are and how we can build that relationship to really hone in on the fact that this is easy, safe, and important. It matters for representation. It matters for allocation of funding and everything that a lot of people really need to be vibrant.
Awesome. And Lee, how does that interact with your partnership for Southern Maryland?
Yeah, and thanks for having us on there, Britt. So I can tell you, Southern Maryland, we're leading the way. Charles County, you guys' efforts are ongoing. We have this thing called the Census Response Rate Challenge, so you can kind of get an idea of how your county, all the way down to your neighborhood and census tract, to see how you guys are doing. And right now, for Charles County, you're at 68.7%. And I mean, that's very close to the final self-response rate of 71.5%. And the only way we get there is through partners. It's working with the local community, working with the Complete Count Committee, working with our nonprofits, working with the local government, like the county commissioners. It's a combined effort, reaching out to those partners to make sure that we're getting that census message to them.
Awesome. And Amy, how does Planning Division fit into the census and the partnership?
Yes, well, as you said, I'm a planner with Charles County Government, and we help disseminate demographic and population information to the county residents and organizations. And so I have been working on all things census. I'm the chair of the Charles County Complete Count Committee, which is a group, a work group of partners, agencies, trusted voices out in the Charles County community who are charging to bring the census message and its importance to their populations and their clients, their communities. So basically, I kind of coordinate that effort to get the word out so the partners can spread the word. And I also work with Lee, Julius, and the state and federal census partners for assistance with that effort.
Oh, awesome. So I guess one of the big questions to ask, and Julius, we'll start with you. Why is the census so important?
Thank you. And I'm glad you came back to that question, because I know we always just go straight into why the work is important. But the census is important because in 1790, the framers of the Constitution determined that the best way to allocate funding to states will be done by a population count every 10 years. So that's why it's called the decennial census. They also determined that based on this count, not only will we look at how we're going to allocate funding, but also determine how many representatives each state will have, and also to draw congressional and state legislative districts. So as you can imagine, when we're thinking of population without thinking of the census, we just think, you know what, there's this many people, this is what they need. But the tool that determines for everybody across the state how to properly allocate the communities, the schools, the roads, the funding that they need, that is all done based on a population count of the nation's population.
Oh, wow. So how can people respond?
So, yeah, that's a for the first time ever, believe it or not, we've gone online, right? So for the new age people, they think everything has always been online. But for us, up until this year, or in 2010, you were only able to fill it out via paper mailing. So a lot of people remember receiving a paper mailer, mailing it back, or somebody knocking on their door. In 2020, we now have 3 different ways to complete it. You can go online. You can call in via phone because we know broadband is an issue in some places in the state. And finally, the paper form is still available for us constitutional purists who like the paper and the pen and things like that. So 3 ways to complete it. We've also expanded our languages. So now online, you have 13 different languages that you can complete it in, because we realize as the nation changes, it's important to not only change, but to invite people to respond in language. So we're excited by the fact that it's easier to complete, it's safer than ever, and there's more languages than ever to complete it. So we're really excited.
Oh, that's incredible. And if people want to do it online, it's 2020census.gov. Is that correct?
2020census.gov. Yep.
Awesome. Now, Lee, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but how is Charles County responding to the census?
Charles County is doing a excellent job. So, like I said, with the Complete Count Committee and working through organizations, each of the areas are reporting good. And as I said before, we want to make sure we have that complete and accurate count, right? So across the board, while we're at 68.7% for the current self-response rate, that final self-response rate for 2010 was 71.5. So we're very, very close, right? But we do have some challenge areas. And so that's where we need everyone's help. This is why we're encouraging people to still go ahead. Do not wait to complete the census. We're encouraging you to complete the census now. And if you've completed it, work with your neighbors, work with your friends. As establishments are opening back up, like our faith-based community, so with the churches and the malls and all these different places, wherever you go to, we want to try to pass on that census message, because until we get to 100%, then we're not done, right?
Right.
And that's the entire thing. We want to try to encourage, keep pushing. The self-response phase has been extended with all the precautions with COVID-19 until the 31st of October. But again, we don't want people to wait, basically to Halloween to complete. We're encouraging you to complete it today.
Awesome. Yeah. And Amy, how can Charles County increase the response rates, particularly in our more rural areas?
Yeah, so as I said before, I'm coordinating the county's Complete Count Committee, and we've been working for more than a year to get the word out in order to get a full and accurate count. And basically, we just want to stress how important it is to do the census and that there's multiple ways to do it. And our Complete Count Committee consists of organizations and members who can bring that message out to their community. So, for example, we have people who, mainly influencers who live in our low response areas or work in those areas. They can go out and put the message out on social media, because a lot of these areas do have a very active social media presence. So we just find those trusted voices, and we find targeted ways to reach the people who need to hear the message. So basically, yeah, it's a partnership, and we also work with our federal Lee and Julius and our state partners for the census. Also help us out in that regard. They'd like to go out and before the restrictions were put in place due to the pandemic, they spoke to a lot of groups, churches, organizations, and spread the word. It was a very grassroots sort of thing. And as things started to open up, as Lee was saying, we can start doing that again. Hopefully, we're happy to get out there and spread and talk to people, one-on-one or face-to-face, and spread the message that way. So basically, it's just about spreading the word through people and trusted voices.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, and really, really, really important. So I'm going to throw this out there for the group. How would you recommend we get people who have not responded to complete the census?
Yeah, and I could lead that off. I know as a bureau, we thought of this question. We realized, it is a very interesting media climate. Everything is digital. Everybody's at home. So I know what we did on our end. We partnered up with Line R, which is a pretty good marketing contractor, and they were able to provide not only messaging, right, for the people who we know we want to target, the population that we knew in 2010. For low response, hard to count. We created targeted messaging, right? We have YouTube videos, we have pledge cards, but the best part about this, we also made that available to our partners. So if you want to get involved at this point and you say, hey, I don't have the collateral, I don't have the materials, go to 2020 Census.gov, get the facts, and there's actually a spread the word button. There's also a partners button that will give you access to our full outreach toolkit, and that's everything from why the census is important to how do you protect your data, but it's also available in language. So I know for us, we realize now it's just about getting the resources to the partners because they're already doing the work. Shout out to Charles County, clearly that they're doing the work. But now to reach the populations we've missed, we might need to consider putting the resources straight to the community.
Yeah. Well,
and I would just tag on, like Julius just mentioned, it's about the resources. It's really stressing the importance of completing the census because, I did a town hall a couple of months ago with Commissioner Coates, and some of the things that I was hearing was kind of like the infrastructure, the crumbling infrastructure, is making sure that all constituents, all neighbors, all people in each of these areas understand, hey, this is just one of the ways. Not only is it taking care of your civic responsibility, but this is taking care of your community. That's why it's so vitally important for people to get counted. So when we start talking about those schools, we're talking about the emergency services and the hospitals and, all these future planning, all those different things. That's how we're going to reach people, through the resources, through the messages. And it really is going to take that grassroots, like door to door. We're all family, we're all neighbors. And so we need to reach out and check on each other and make sure, hey, if you haven't done so, because they may have forgot about it, hey, go ahead and complete your census. If you haven't done so, it's vitally important for you to do that.
Absolutely is. Amy.
Yeah, sure. Just to echo what Lee and Julius were saying about how stressing how it's important to those particular communities, whether they, it's, how roads get funded, schools, and of course, first responders, hospitals, healthcare. So much in people's minds right now. The numbers help determine where businesses decide to locate, that they look at population figures very closely. So it helps your community's economy as well. So just to let people know how important it is. And also we want to stress that, some people are a little concerned about putting their information out there, but we need to stress that the census is completely confidential. The data is not shared with anyone, and personal data is never shared. So just know that it's safe and it's important. And if you've done your census, help spread the word to your neighbors, your friends, coworkers, people at church. Tell them how important it is. Even give them a little help. Tell them where what the link is, what the website or the phone number is that they can respond. That's all very important, and encouraging people to help each other out.
Oh, absolutely. And I think Lee might have mentioned this, but there's been an extension. So when can households respond?
They can respond now. Now.
Now.
But yes, you do have until the 31st of October to respond. That's the self-response phase. What we're also going to move into in August, we're going to move into what we call the non-response follow-up. So self-response, these are the folks that, hey, you received your invitation in the mail, you completed it online, you called in over the phone, or you submitted your paper survey. For those that still have not done that, we're going to start having census workers that will go door to door, and, we'll follow all precautions and be safe out there and stuff. But same thing, the final self-response phase ends on the 31st of October.
Awesome. All right.
I may, we're also looking to get Maryland in the top 10 of national, like in the nation of the states. We want Maryland, for the first time in history, to be top 10. We're currently in 12th place at 65.4. The national average is only 61, so we're ahead of the national average. But if we get to 80 in Charles, we're going to get the top 10 in the nation. So I'm encouraged and I'm excited. And honestly, wonderful work coming from Tri-County, specifically the Charles County Complete Count Committee. Thank you, Lee, for the wonderful work we're doing. And thank you for just the opportunity to be on the podcast.
Oh, that's awesome. And I really hope that we can push Maryland into the top 10. I think we can do it.
Oh, yeah, it's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. Through everyone's effort, we're going to get there. And again, we thank you so much for the Complete Count Committee, to the commissioners, to really everyone in the community, because it's about all of us coming together to make sure that we are completely counted, have that complete and accurate count.
All right. Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just remember, the census is profoundly important, not just to our state, not just to our county, but to our local communities. So fill yours out today. Visit 2020census.gov. Thanks for listening.